Christian Fraser there in Paris, thank you very much. Plenty more on that case to run. Well, this is something that's difficult to comprehend. Children abusing children. But recent figures obtained by the children's charity, the NSPCC here in the UK, suggests that it is on the rise. And they're putting it down to kids being able to access internet porn. Over 5,000 cases of children abusing children were reported in the UK in the last 3 years. More than half were classified as serious, including rape. 98% of those accused of abuse were boys, and in some cases those boys were as young as 5. Well, with me in the studio is the BBC's Seema Kotecha. Seema, you've been following the story. I know you're quite close to it. Talk us through some of those findings which we just discussed. They're quite disturbing, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, you just presented the figures. More than 5,000 children have been reported to police forces across England and Wales over the last 3 years as abusing other children. And as you said, some are as young as 5. We're talking about the perpetrators. And we're also told that these are serious crimes. These are not just children touching each other and being curious. It's actually as serious in some cases as rape. And campaigners are calling for attention. They say something needs to be done about this. They're saying that the internet needs to be blocked in some cases so that children are not able to access online pornography through their smartphones and their tablet devices. So yes, they're calling it very alarming.
Okay, but let's talk about this idea of what we can do about it. You know, the figures are terrible enough. The suggestion of what's going on is terrible enough. What to do about it, though? What can we do?
Well, I've been told by Claire Perry, who is a Member of Parliament in the UK and also the advisor on porn and the internet to the Prime Minister, that she has received verbal confirmation from the 4 main internet service providers that they will put safety filters in place in homes with children by the end of this year. So that means if you want to access pornography, you're going to have to untick a box. However, campaigners say that's not enough and that it's more about education, parents and teachers being bold enough to talk about porn with their children and tell them what dangers actually could come from looking at this kind of material. I spoke to one lady called Jenny. She says that her 9-year-old daughter was abused by a boy the same age, and her voice is actually disguised, and we've used an actor to voice her words.
He aggressively rubbed himself up against her, getting very excited and telling her what he wanted to do to her in very graphic language. He had his hand around her neck.
That raises this idea, doesn't it? What is the role of parents in all of this?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been going interactive on this story in different parts of the BBC today, and we're finding that there is actually a lot of hostility towards parents, saying that parents should actually be responsible for this and that they should block the internet. They should not let their children see these images online. That's
difficult, though, isn't it? I mean, especially if children have computers in their bedrooms.
Absolutely, yeah. But we've heard from some people that, you know, these devices shouldn't be given to children as young as 5 or 6, because sometimes in some cases they're able to come across this material without actually intentionally wanting to see it. But a probation report that was recently that came out in February says that social workers and police forces and teachers are missing warning signs in children who are showing a tendency to perhaps sexually abuse others. So there are also calls for better training to be in place so that these kind of professionals can spot signs early on in children.
Seema, it's a tough subject to talk about, so I really appreciate you taking the time to explain that to us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, let's have a